It's 6 ways from Sunday.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my Earth Friendly Kitchen. I'm Maria, your host, and today we are making one of the cheapest, easiest, fastest, upscale meal that you can make. You could serve this as an appetizer or an entree over pasta, but we are making mussels in a lemon butter garlic sauce. So I don't know if any of those words don't sound delicious to you. Try pick another video on my channel because this one is the one to stay for. All right, so we're gonna get about 3 cloves of garlic, decent cloves. You know, we like garlic. If they're small, get more. And we're just gonna chop them up nice and fine. You know, if it doesn't start with garlic, guys, I mean, you know, it's rare around here that it doesn't start with garlic. I'm just saying. We like it. But anything just, I mean, the decadence sounding garlic, butter, lemon sauce, right? I mean, it's just everything about that phrase screams decadence to me. And this is a kind of meal or even appetizer that you would honestly get in a restaurant for at least $20 each. And it cost me a whopping, you know, let's say 5 plus the wine, because I'm using wine, but we're going to drink it. I mean, $20, you know, to make it at home, but you're serving more than one person. I'm just going to chop up these cloves, and we're making nice little sticks here, and then we're going to go right across the opposite direction. So turn them all around and go the other way. Tuck your fingers in. Make sure you don't get them caught. And we want them to be nice and small because we are making a sauce for the mussels, and it's going to cook up very fast. And we don't want giant chunks of garlic in this dish. Some dishes, but not this one. Just because we want it to be nice and smooth and almost kind of just like melt in the background behind the mussels. The mussels are the star here. Now, mussels, if you're unfamiliar, are of the mollusk family, or basically, you know, fish in a shell. And they are really delicious. They are I should say, they are the most sustainable protein that's out there. It's one of the most economical, one of the most earth-friendly, easy to raise, and, you know, very, very, very easy on the budget. But, you know, for whatever reason, restaurants will charge you a whole lot of money because they just taste so rich and beautiful. You know, they're definitely making their market. Now, if you didn't want to put wine in this sauce, because wine, really all the wine does is bring an added level of acidity to a dish. It really helps brighten it up. But you can leave it out because we do have the lemon, and that's going to bring its own level of acidity, right, and brightness to the dish. So if you're, you know, don't consume alcohol or you don't want to use it, then leave it out. That's okay. And then we're also just going to kind of run our knife through to make nice small dices to match up our garlic, because we're going to throw these in at the same time. As we know, shallots are in the onion family, but they're much more mild. They tend to cook faster. They're lighter. And they just go really well in this kind of dish, so that you don't have to worry so much about overpowering things with the onion flavor, but it really just adds to the deliciousness of it all. All right, so 2 shallots, diced just as fine as the garlic. All right, and then we're going to zest our lemon before we cut it in half. So if you have a microplaner like this, or if you have, you know, a zester or whatever you have, just try to get you're going to go all the way around the lemon to where you see you're taking off. Now, you don't want to go too deep to where you start getting the rind itself, because that might add a little bit more bitterness. But you just want to go all the way around to get as much of the beautiful, you know, zest from the outside as you can. Now, obviously, I washed this lemon, scrubbed it before we started so that we know this is safe. Because normally if you just, you know, you don't have to like really scrub a lemon. You can just rinse it before cutting into it usually, because you're just using the inside. But Today, we're using the outside too. So you want to make sure it's nice and ready. All right, so you just zest of a lemon, and then we're going to cut this lemon in half. We'll put this a little bit separate. And then we're going to cut this lemon in half to get ready to juice it when we're ready. And then we're also going to take some fresh parsley. Now, if you don't have fresh parsley, then, you know, you could use dried parsley, but you would want to use a lot less than we're using today, because we're going to be using about half a cup of fresh parsley. And if you guys haven't seen this before, this is my herb saver. This guy's just like popping out here. It's so big. My herbs haven't started springing up yet for this growing season, so I went and picked some up, but they just have these cut edges here. There's holes in the bottom. There's water in this, and you just keep it in, and you can keep this in your fridge, and it will keep your herbs fresh for at least 2 weeks. I mean, it's unbelievable. So I'm just going to take all this parsley and bunch it up and kind of give it a nice chop. Just really a rough chop here. And this is going to just fold into your sauce really nicely. But if you're using dried parsley, you're probably only going to use about 2 tablespoons, because the dried has a more concentrated flavor, and you definitely don't need as much as the fresh. Okay? So, half a cup or so of fresh parsley, your lemon zest, your shallots and garlic, and your cut up lemon. Now we're going to go and get ready and put it all together in the pot. So in addition to my mise en place that I have here, I have my mise en place back here ready for me to go. So I have my olive oil, my spices, my white wine, some broth, and the mussels themselves. So I'm going to turn the heat on to about medium to high, but closer to medium. And I'm just going to do about 2 tablespoons of the olive oil to start cooking up these garlic and shallots. Now, mussels, you can buy them fresh or frozen. I don't think it really affects a lot when you buy them frozen. You know, some things kind of lose, a little bit of their freshness when they're frozen, but most of the time they don't lose their qualities. The reason why I say mussels are such a sustainable food, like I said, they're easy to grow, but they're also very healthy for you. They're super high in protein. They've got a ton of omega-3s, high in vitamin A. I mean, they're really a powerhouse of a protein, to have, and at one of the cheapest costs. And 2 pounds in my frozen section at my store, which I would assume you should check your store because every store is going to be a little different, right? Is like $5 for 2 pounds. I mean, it's really quite incredible. This is why I said it cost $20, because the wine was like $13. But if you don't buy the wine, or if you get like cooking wine at your grocery store, obviously it's going to cost you way less than that to make this dish. So we're going to just kind of sweat these a little bit. You can see they're starting to already get nice and happy in the pan. And you see how we try to keep everything as evenly cut as possible so that it cooks the same, not just for aesthetics, not just for the sauce itself, but so that it cooks the same and evenly, so you don't have some pieces that are over while others are under. That's the goal. Okay, and now that those are a little bit sweat, we're going to add the wine. We're going to do half a cup. So like I said, if you don't want it, skip this step. Instead of regular wine, you can use cooking wine, which again would also be half a cup. But this is just really going to add a little bit of brightness to the dish. And my husband and I will enjoy that as we eat these mussels. And, when you pour it in, you want the alcohol from the wine to burn off a little bit before moving on to the next step. So that usually will take a good, depending on how much wine you put in there, but half a cup, you're probably looking at, a minute or 2. Now, some people, you can make mussel sauce a lot of different ways. There's a ton of different recipes for like mussel sauces. You can do a red sauce or a white sauce. Red sauce you can make spicy or not spicy. I mean, I've had them 10 times, 10, what's that phrase? I've had them 10 ways sideways or something like that, right? 10 ways, and I don't remember what the phrase is.
Oh, no, that's it.
But I've had them a ton of different ways. And so you can make this at home a ton of different ways. Like I said, with or without the wine. We're doing ours without cream. Some people like to put cream in the sauce. Instead of cream, we're doing broth with pecorino, just because it's, easier for my belly, to be honest, with everything else. But, there's so many different varieties of this, so this is just one version, but I really encourage you guys to try it because this dish is just so bright. It's a perfect appetizer, honestly, if you're serving, like, pasta to friends, if you're having them over for dinner. This is like a great appetizer to have. Just have it on, the table. Everybody picks at a couple of mussels while you're getting their pasta dishes ready. I mean, you really can't go wrong, So, all right. So now you're wondering, we're going to add the butter in because you're like, we put olive oil. You said butter. I know. The olive oil helps the butter from burning when it's in the sauce. And the butter obviously then adds to the creaminess of the dish. So we are going to do, you love my easy math, 3 tablespoons. And we're just going to add those right in. We're just going to add a little bit more garlic powder and onion powder. So 1/4 teaspoon of each. Because as, we add more liquid to the dish, dilutes things, right? And then we're going to do 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now, obviously, mussels are from the sea, so they have their own level of salinity. And when you put them in the broth, they're going to release their juices, and that's going to add to the salt level of your dish. Plus, we're adding the pecorino. So, you want to be careful of how much salt. Remember, you can always add, you can't take away. All right. So we're just going to let that cook off. You can actually smell the wine a little bit, and it's really when you stop smelling it is when you know it's kind of burned itself off, which is exactly what we're looking for, because then what you're left with is just the onions and the garlic and the butter. All right. And then we're going to add our lemon to that, and we want to get as much juice as we can. This guy might be too big for my juicer. Oh man, guys. Ooh, let's get in there like Cinderella's shoe. Okay. Yeah. Got him. All right. Yeah, we made her fit. And then this one, I guess we won't fight with this. We'll just squeeze with our hands instead of using our fancy tools. And then we're going to add a cup of broth, give or take. There should be about a cup left in this jar. I used it for a soup I made the other day. Oh, guys, it's 1/2 cup. I guess I used more in my dish than I thought. Well, then we're just going to add a little bit of water. And that's okay. Just might need a little bit more seasoning, right? Because we want a cup of liquid, right? So we'll just watch the seasoning level of that. And then we're going to add all of our zest and parsley in to get that flavor going. Okay? Give that a nice stir. So it's not a ton of liquid, right? I mean, you can see it's pretty shallow. The reason why I have this deeper pan, though, is because when we add the mussels, they're going to fill the space, and then they're going to release more liquid, more broth, the pecorino. So we're going to do 1/2 cup of that. Okay, 1/2 cup. And that's just going to melt really beautifully. So it's almost as if it's like this is instead of adding like a cream, right, or milk to this dish. It gives it that creaminess that kind of melds together with the butter. And then mussels, the way they cook up is, now these were previously frozen, like I said, but if you got them fresh or frozen, when you put them in your pot, You know they're done when they open, okay? Just like a clam, just like an oyster, like, well, oysters you actually crack open because most people eat them raw. I know we do, but most people do. But if you were to cook them, same thing. Everything needs to pop open, right? And if it doesn't open, it's not good. Don't eat it. Throw it out. My husband looks for even the slightest gap of a mussel so that he doesn't waste anything for that. So I'm always like, oh, I don't know if he's like, I'm eating it. It's open. Okay. It's your stomach. Ooh, the lemon. It's so bright. So delish. And you don't taste that alcohol at all. Even in this stage. It's just really, it's the brightness and the acidity. So we are just going to pour these guys in. And yes, there'll be a little bit of ice if you had them previously frozen. That's okay. It's their own juices that they were packed in. And even if, it just adds to the broth. Okay? So we're just going to get these guys all in there, covered. And then we're going to cover it up with our lid here. And these are honestly only going to take about 3 to 5 minutes. If they were fresh, definitely 3 minutes. Since they're frozen, it may take more like 5, just because that freeze has to come off of them. But they've been thawing out a little bit as we've been prepping and stuff here. So depends on how you get them. Okay, guys? So when they're all nice and open, we'll come back so you can see how they look. See you in a bit. Okay, so it's actually been about 6 minutes since we put this on, just again because they were frozen. Just took a little bit extra time to get them to all really fully open. So look at those beauties. Put this back here. Good. I have some broth over here going, guys, so I don't run out on my next video. You know, I'm always trying to be prepared for the next time. But just look how nice they are. Just really, just the color of this dish, it just looks so elegant. And honestly, like the way you serve this is just in a platter. Just dump them all in. And then we're just going to pour the juice right on top of the mussels so that they go. And you can serve this with some beautiful crostinis, some fresh garlic bread, or, you know, French bread, Italian bread, semolina, twist, whatever you want, so that people can just sop up all that deliciousness on the bottom once the mussels are gone. So we're going to pour these. Guys, you want to be careful, of course, you know, as you're doing this so you don't burn yourself. So look what I'm talking about. See this guy? Not open. We're not even going to put him on the dish. He's going to go in the sink. This guy, I would say maybe questionable, but my husband would say good to go. So he's going to go in the dish. He's going to eat that one. All right, and then we're just going to pour the sauce. Oh, let's look for aesthetics. The sauce right over into the dish here. This is why you want to have like a platter that's deep. Okay, look at that. This is going to impress any of your guests here. You can even make them like look a little bit nicer if you wanted to spread out. All right, so let's dig in. The way you eat them, you just open it up, take your fork, they peel right out just like that. Oh my goodness. That with the sauce on like a piece of toast or crusty bread, just sop it up, guys. Oh my gosh, it's so bright, it's so delicious, it's hearty, it's elegant, and it's cheap. That's one of the best things that I can say about this low budget delicious meal. I hope you try it. I hope you love it. If you do, let me know. If you've tried other types of mussels, you know, in the past, and you want to put it in the comments, please do. Otherwise, just like and subscribe to my channel for more recipes like this. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.